Well yo lads, Crypto here, and upon uploading and rewatching my most recent video where I reviewed Tiny Tina's Wonderlands 1 month after release, I came to realise that, sure, I stated the good and the bad of the game, but I didn't really say how they can improve on the bad. Because yeah, you know, that makes sense, don't mind me, just some random guy on the internet telling a multi-million-dollar company how to run their game. But anyway, so I had to do something, but unfortunately, upon my last visit to the doctor, the dude told me to be a bit more careful with carrying the community on my back with my canon opinions, or else I'm gonna become paralyzed. So what did I do? What did Crypto do? Well, he took it to Twitter where people almost have better opinions than he does. I asked you guys how you would improve Tiny Tina's Wonderlands in any way possible, and I got a lot. And I mean a lot of responses, so thank you all. Like seriously, I'm not going to be able to get through all of this unless you guys want like a 5-hour video. And I did say I will put an emphasis on most popular features, so we'll definitely kick off with those and we'll slowly go down to, you know, more least requested features. And oh my god, would you guys look at that? I just mentioned my Twitter and I didn't even make some rusty ass transition telling you guys to go follow me. Oh my god, so humble, so cool, so ethical, Crypto. Kicking off the list of requested features is something that definitely shocked and surprised me, and I didn't expect it to be here considering no one cared for it in Borderlands 3. But the first point we're going to be covering is New Game Plus. I swear like 20% of comments told me to put this here and I did not expect it, because in Borderlands 3 people were annoyed that TVHM didn't do anything. It was pretty much the exact same thing as normal mode. But in Borderlands 2 and the pre-sequel, people complained that you had to do TVHM and UVHM, which is weird. No one really specified what type of New Game Plus they want, but if I had to make an assumption and if I had to throw my opinion in here, I'd definitely prefer a Borderlands 3 style TVHM. And the reason why is because in Wonderlands, the story and dialogue is so long, I really don't want it to be a necessity to replay it again just to get more progress done and better loot. So yeah, overall, I'd definitely like to see a New Game Plus make its way into Wonderlands, so long as it's a Borderlands 3 style New Game Plus where it's optional. Yeah. Next, moving on. Next up we have this request which we're going to read out in its entirety because oh my god, this guy must be a genius. He always has ideas which are so good. I don't know how he does it, man. He must be some sort of Einstein relative. The request says, if you ask me, Ascended Gear and the other tiers need to be scrapped unless there is a different way to unlock them. Ain't no way I'm doing another 15 Chaos Chambers on all my characters. Wow. He nailed it. What a genius. But yeah, the grind to Chaos 35 is already so tedious. If you saw my last video, which I definitely recommend, then you'll already know my thoughts on Chaos 35 and the Chaos Chamber in general. And the fact that with Ascended Gear and the other upcoming Chaos tiers, they want to increase the Chaos levels is a bit questionable. Like I said, I don't mind them adding on more Chaos levels and more Chaos sub-rarities, so long as we don't have to do the Chaos Chamber to unlock them. But honestly, I don't see them changing that because, you know, they are called Chaos Chambers for a reason. Another very big request that I've gotten is for Gearbox to spread out the loopholes between enemies. And yes, I agree, farming in Chaos Chamber, I thought it would be a good mechanic. I thought it would fit the game style, but no. No, it's just not fun. I, along with many other people, originally thought that having your items mainly come from Chaos Chamber would be great, as it would give Chaos Chamber more purpose, right? I first witnessed this when I was farming for a Poisonous Buffmeister, and yeah, oh my god, it took me like 4 or 5 days. It was too long, and the roll wasn't even that good, it was pretty average. Farming 4 or 5 days for one item of a specific element is kinda ridiculous. This is the type of stuff that promotes save editing, and it's worse now. It's worse now that DLC 1 drops can drop in the Chaos Chamber. Like, the Bath Bunnies loopholes are now more bloated than your arsehole when Uncle Bill comes visit for Christmas. Yeah, I definitely agree with this. We do need to spread these out. Not only that, but we also need to make non-respawnable enemies respawn because, yeah, there's no farming when the enemies just don't respawn. Ugh, have they not learnt their lesson from BL3? The common percentage I've seen being thrown around for dedicated drop farming is 10% flat, and yeah, I'd have to agree, it's very similar to BL3 farming, and BL3 farming was pretty damn good. And also, I'm just gonna chuck this in, no one said this, but it's a personal opinion. Adding dedicated drops to enemies just kind of adds a sense of exploration to the normal world, you know? Because if no enemies drop something in a certain area, you're not really gonna revisit that zone anymore, are you? Because there's no reason to, unless you're doing a side quest, but after you're done with the side quest, you're not gonna go back there because no one drops anything. Better DLC, specifically story DLC. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory, innit? Let me just say that I was so gassed when we found out that Wonderlands' DLC would be all endgame, but seeing how that turned out with coiled captors, yeah, I'd love to go back to story DLC. Plus, Wonderlands has some pretty sick potential for story DLC, probably the most potential out of any Borderlands game. I've seen this idea being thrown around quite a bit of times, and honestly, I can't agree more. It would be so cool if each DLC would have a different character tell their own story in a D&D game, just like Tina did, but instead of Tina, maybe in like DLC 3 or something, we'd have Claptrap tell his own story. But nah, bitch, enjoy Funny Shark. New Funny Shark 1 piece of dialogue dropping next week. A new stage of Funny Shark dropping next week too. Funny Shark. More variety in endgame is a pretty obvious one. I don't think I need to delve into this one too much. Takedown, Slaughter Shaft and Trials would definitely spice up gameplay in Wonderlands. Another very cool request is to make raid bosses be able to be fought outside of the Chaos Chamber. Yes, I agree. Fellow Pussy Slayer and Borderlands content creator It's Termex said that a good idea would be to pay souls from DLC 1 in order to fight these guys outside of the chamber. And I actually agree, the souls are very bad right now. The wheel in Dreamvale Overlook is awful. I'd rather farm Bath Bunnies. Bath Bunnies actually give you like 5 drops every single time you put your crystals into them. So yeah, another use for them would be very awesome, and I definitely agree with this. It would certainly add more value to the shitty DLC. And I've also seen a few people say that a raid boss chaos trial would be pretty cool, and I agree. Imagine a boss rush, but it's all raid bosses. Another very popular request, which I just didn't expect to see, is to be able to toggle myth rank on and off. I already think Chaos 35 is very challenging with myth rank, and it would be more difficult without it. But hey, I don't see why we shouldn't make it an option for those with a min-maxed perfect build. It's an optional thing, which was here in Borderlands 2 with badass rank. It was there with Borderlands 3, it was added late, but it was there with Guardian rank, so I don't see why it shouldn't be here in Wonderlands. The final big request that I've gotten is for loot to just start being so damn gimmicky, such as the Marshmallow spell or the recently introduced Dynamite spell in Coiled Captors, and just give us some more badass items. Because currently in the game, I want to say like, I don't know, 70% of items rely on gimmicks, and it's so difficult to make a build around them. The poisonous saw blades are very weak, they're very difficult to hit targets with because their gravity and their range isn't too great. We have the Marshmallow spell, which, I mean, it's a fucking marshmallow spell, what do you expect? These gimmicky items just hurt diversity so much because, for example, in Wonderlands, we don't really have any slam amulets except for one, whereas in Borderlands 3 we had plenty. And for one slam amulet in Wonderlands, Volkanar's cog avoids enemies instead of hitting them, it jumps over them, like, why? Yes, I get that them being gimmicky is part of the game's style, it's meant to fit D&D, but bro, no one uses these items, everyone just skips them, it's a waste. But oh well, moving on. We're now gonna kick off talking about the smaller requests, and the first one is for there to be less elemental locked legendaries. Yes, specifically to Cryo. It makes sense if Black Powder is locked to specific elements because, you know, that's just Jacob's trait and it always has been. But having this apply to every manufacturer, specifically Skulldugger, is just really annoying. Going back to the diversity talk, this just hinders it, and it doesn't help that DLC 1 introduced armor which buffs Cryo and Shock. The armor really should have just boosted Poison and Fire because those elements really suck right now. So yeah, to stop this big divide between damage from these certain elements, I really hope they just stop locking weapons to elements, or just buff for really bad elements, that could work too. But yeah, very good point. Coming up next is something we've been asking ever since Borderlands 3 came out, and that is the ability to mark for trash when picking items up. I actually do remember this being brought up on the Borderlands show a while back, and I know Randy said something along the lines of, Well this does sound like a great idea. You have to remember there's not enough buttons on a controller. But like, dog, did you skip physics class or something? Surely you know what holding a button is, right? SDU machines in the Chaos Chamber area is a very basic one. I'm actually surprised they haven't done this because every other machine can be found there, such as the enchantment machine. It actually has me thinking there might be a reason why it doesn't appear there or Dreamvale Overlook, but hey, if there isn't, I'd love to see it appear in those two areas. And finally, we have a very nitpicky one, a very nice one for the lazy bastards watching. Fast travels in more areas, specifically near bosses such as Ribula, which to be fair I might be considered a lazy bastard myself, because to get to Ribula you have to run across the entire map. Yeah, it's a bit painful, but yeah, I believe those might be all, if not definitely most of the requests you fellas have sent in, covered and summed up by yours truly. And yeah, I guess that does it for the video. I haven't really asked anyone here on YouTube yet, I've only asked on Twitter, so definitely make sure to comment down below how you would make Tiny Tina's Wonderlands better in any way possible. Thank you all so much for watching. If I'm being honest, I really can't be arsed doing my full outro, so if you like Tiny Tina's Wonderlands, make sure to like and subscribe. You will automatically pull more bitches. And yeah, stay classy. Peace.